what's up, world, and welcome to an all-new edition of the OH.Report video podcast right here in our brand new studio, the new world headquarters of the OH.Report. I got all my friends with me. We're a little bit cramped today, but let's go ahead and go around the room and introduce you to everyone. My name's Brian. We've got Big League Travis Berardi over here. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Over to my right, how about G-Man? Garrett Parlett just turned 21 years old, still trying to shake off the cobwebs of the weekend, but he's back. He's still with it. And then finally, Storm Blunchley, the man with the most beautiful lettuce on the team and glasses. Way to go. All right, gentlemen. Well, we all covered some Friday night football last week, so the fall high school season officially has kicked off. Let's share a couple of stories and tell the people at home, what did they miss if they didn't tune into some of our highlights? Travis, what was the big takeaway for you?
Well, I was at St. Peter's as Crestview, the boys' first time playing soccer since 2009, came out with a 3-1 victory. A couple big shots by the Holloway kid. He's actually the football kicker. He went from about 25 and 30 yards out, one on a free kick, one during play, just knocked it over the goalie. Those are the two deciding goals, and Crestview for the first time since 2009.
Wow.
They got a victory.
How you
Very
like
impressive.
that? Yeah, their first game as the program, bringing it back and get the dub.
Yeah, they have a bunch of freshmen on the team, a few juniors, I believe 1 or 2 seniors, and yeah, they were able to get it done.
Cool. For me, I saw a 3-3 draw. You too showed up for the second half of this game.
Ending.
Ontario Lady Warriors versus Dublin Drum. It was a fantastic game, and I think it played out kind of perfectly in terms of the championship landscape for Ontario, Travis, and I'll tell you why. This was a team, a Division I team, that got a 3-1 lead on them. It was starting to get late into the game, and then one of their superstars, who was the D1 prospect, Addie Turnbosch, she turned up the heat, as did Kyla Spencer. 2 goals, one of them coming the equalizer with just 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, so it was a phenomenal game. We got the highlights available for you right now on our Twitter, our YouTube, our Instagram, and of course on the OH.Report, and don't forget about Facebook. So if you want to check it out, you haven't seen it yet, fantastic way for Ontario to open up the season. And I think, again, some of that championship DNA kind of came out of Larry Atkinson's bunch, having to step up to the occasion at the end of the game. These two Yahoos to my right, they covered the same game over at Ashland. You saw the boys play, and again, another draw. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was 3-3, Brian. Ashland got a few free penalty kicks that they would capitalize on, but Northview started out 2-0. Ashland finally would respond with those penalty kicks. Later in the second half, Dylan Cruddy took a beautiful pass from his teammate and scored, but Northview would not go away as they scored with under 5 minutes to go to tie things up. It was a tremendous game, and I know Storm had a good time out there.
Yeah, for real. Northview, a really good squad, and Ashland right there with them the whole way. I mean, I think Ashland's going to be a really, really good squad this year. They started off a little rusty. I was a little concerned at first, thought we were going to see a blowout there. But like you said, Ashland got those 2 PKs there, and then they had an equalizer, a beautiful goal in the second half. So Ashland's going to definitely be a team to watch out for, I think, on the boys' side of things.
All right, so that was Friday night football from last week, and the beautiful game of soccer already well into their season now, kicking things off last weekend. But in Ohio, what's king out here, of course, is football. And that all gets started here this week on Thursday and Friday, and ton of great games that we're going to have for you guys right here on the OH.Report, but we're going to narrow it down to just one for each of us. What game, gentlemen, are you most looking forward to? Storm, we'll let you go first.
Of course, I got to go with my Whippets, Shelby playing at Madison. I mean, it's just going to be super exciting. See what Marshall Shepard can do. It's going to be his second year at the helm of the offense, so it's going to be really exciting to see him step up and progress. And that actually, that game will actually tie into one of our topics a little bit later, but it's going to be really exciting to see what Shelby can do, week 1 versus Madison.
I love it. A little foreshadowing, so you have to stick around to the end and see what Storm is talking about. Hard not to be excited about those Whippets right now, bringing back so many pieces. But can they replace the parts that they lose at running back and the offensive line? We're going to find out in just a few days. G-Man, what are you looking forward to this Friday or Thursday?
Well, Thursday night, Brian, I got to pick Crestview versus Lineville, going with my alum. Both of them, we used to go to Lineville too, so I'm curious to see what the Redbirds are going to look like under a new head coach. They're looking a little different. The offense is a little bit different. They got some big guys down there. Now, Crestview obviously struggled at one of the lineman challenges we were at, so it's going to be a battle in the trenches. And Crestview losing Ross Kuhn and Evan Hamilton, it's going to be a different offense, and I'm curious to see what happens. We're going to have that one on live stream, so super excited to see that one.
can the baby coon take over at the quarterback position and outdo Big Brother and even Pops, who played there too?
Tough task.
That's going to be a tough task for him. For me, guys, it's all about Arlen Field and the TY Tigers taking on Norwalk. I think this is going to be a new Week 1 traditional rivalry. Last year was a great game. The season before that, it was great too. And the Tigers, I feel like I'm a little bit higher on them than the rest of the area. I feel like they're kind of loaded at the skill positions. Effie James tells me this might be the fastest senior high team that he has ever seen since he graduated back in 1994. So could they put all the pieces and parts together again like Shelby? Do they have the big guys up front that can block? And then for Norwalk, I know that they were absolutely devastated the way that they got wiped out of the playoffs last year against Ashland, where they thought that they should have won the game, if not for a couple of really questionable flags. They went super deep in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago. So can they keep the ball rolling? Can the Truckers get a big win at Arlen Field on Week 1? Really excited to see that.
The game for me, it's actually a game you'll be calling with Andy Jardy. Northridge at East Knox. The Bulldogs returned their skill position players from last year, a team that really wasn't supposed to do as much as they did. They were rebuilding from the year before where they went to the state Final Four. But, it's going to be interesting to see how they can improve from last year to this year, and maybe it's another time for another run for those Bulldogs. So I'm going to be interested to see that, even though the game I'll be calling is Centerburg playing Utica. But I think East Knox, it'll be interesting to see how they start off.
Got a ton of live streams coming up. We already touched on a few of them, and then highlights as well this week on the OH.Report. So just keep it locked in all week. We are your new home for high school football coverage right here in North Central Ohio. And since we're talking about games that were going to be potentially our favorite of the week, it got us thinking about our favorite games in totality from last year. We covered, a couple of hundred fall sporting events last season. So, Storm, we'll let you go first on this one. Think back, re-jog your memory. What was your favorite game that you personally had the opportunity to cover from last fall sports season?
Well, it was fun to pick this one because I had covered all Shelby games, so I got to pick my favorite Shelby game from last year, and it definitely was Week 1 versus Ontario. It was all the buzz around it. Was there going to be a season? Was there not going to be a season? And then we finally get to football Friday night, and the game gets canceled and it moves to Saturday.
Right.
So I feel like once they finally got out there and got to play on Saturday, the energy was high. Everyone was giving it 110% all game. Shelby came out with a big win, which, I was pretty happy about. I was super high on Shelby last year, so it's got to be that Week 1 matchup versus Ontario on Saturday.
Gee, do you agree? I believe you were there too in the building for that Week 1 affair.
Yeah, I was there, but I seen a very good game late in the season in the playoffs. Colonel Crawford versus Fairview. Now, I didn't know my expectations. I didn't know what to think going into it. I'd never heard of Fairview, but they got a quarterback, man, by the name of Doug Rakes. That kid was sensational. Now, Colonel Crawford was up 27-14 at halftime, and Fairview would come back to win that one and convert the 2-point conversion to win 35-34. So what a great game, and I believe that was Colonel Crawford's last game of the year. So 16 seniors, what a year that they had, and shout out to them. But definitely Fairview versus Colonel Crawford.
For me, I'm going to go soccer with this one. I'm going to go girls soccer, Rocky River versus Madison. I believe it was state Final Four game. Am I right, Travis?
It was a state semi.
State semifinal game, the Lady Rams undefeated, Rocky River undefeated. I believe they were ranked number 1 and number 3 in the state, and Madison gets behind 2 goals in the second half, and then who put the team on her back? You already know who, the girl who wears the cape around here, not anymore, now playing at the University of Tennessee, but Taylor Huff. 2 big-time goals, also handed out an assist, brought the Lady Rams all the way back for the victory, and oh, by the way, she got on ESPN SportsCenter Top 10 Plays number 4.
So did you, your voice.
With the call that I was on along with Jesse Ryder. What a goal! What a goal! Still got that saved on my computer. What a great memory, and what an unbelievable game, particularly by T. Huff, putting the team on her back, getting that big win.
So I got to cover 2 fall state championships, Van Wert in football, Madison in soccer, but that's not it. Clear Fork Galleon football. Game goes to double overtime. Guy that we kicked against and failed miserably. Dom Pittman hit the game winner in double overtime, but that game had it all. Brady Tedrow had a huge run after not even starting his quarterback in that game. Comes in later after an injury. Big break-off run. Galleon comes down, scores late in the game, ties it up, and then in overtime, Pittman with the big kick in double overtime to win it. So that was the funnest game that I got to call last year.
All right, so that was last season. As we now look forward now, the team that I talked about, the Madison Lady Rams, that would definitely be a team that would fall into this category. Who's got the most pressure on them to succeed this season? Gentlemen, G-Man, we'll let you go first. Of all the fall sports clubs that we have right here in North Central Ohio, who do you think is carrying a ton of pressure on their shoulders right now? They feel like this is their year. They got to get it done.
Well, Brian, you mentioned earlier, I'm going to have to go with Mansfield Senior. I've seen that a couple 7-on-7s, and they really have dominated the competition, and it's been some serious competition. They played Chardon, who was in the state championship last year. They also played Dublin Jerome. So Mansfield Senior is definitely my pick. They got a lot of skill guys, and Brock Hill coming back into year 2 of this system. Man, it could go either two ways. It could go pretty shaky for them, or they could go out there and sling it and get those skill guys like Gross out there. So I'm excited to see the Mansfield TY Tigers, and I think they got the most pressure on them.
So a lot of pressure on Chioke Bradley here as he's in, I think, year number 11 to get some wins. Who is it for you, Storm?
Mentioned it earlier, definitely the Shelby Whippets. I know I sound like a broken record on this episode, but, I like to see the Shelby Whippets succeed, especially since I'm going to be out covering pretty much all their games this year. Marshall Shepard, he's got a lot to prove, maybe not going to have as strong a running back. I mean, those are some big shoes to fill when lead when the all-time school rusher leaves, so it's going to be, mainly him they're relying on, I believe. So it's going to be a big task that he's got to handle, and I think he's got a lot of pressure on him and that whole organization, especially with the playoff run they had last year.
That's a good point. They were undefeated when they played Van Wert in the playoffs. Actually got to host that game last year, but they were balanced on offense. Eric Will did tell me that he went to a scrimmage of theirs 2 weeks ago and that they scored, I believe, 4 touchdowns on the first 7 offensive plays that they had, and all of them were just short passes, and the receivers, like Blaine Bowman, who's still showing up in my friend's nightmares here, he was just able to take the house to the distance. So they definitely got some fantastic skill kids. We'll leapfrog me. We'll let you go next on this, Trap.
And go back down to East Knox. And like I said, this was a team that they were kind of rebuilding last year, but they got it done. Lost to a tough Shady Side team 14-0, and I believe in the regional semis, I think that was.
Correct.
This year they bring back all those skill guys, and after thinking they were rebuilding it last year, that means the next year should be where they get stuff done. So
sure.
Can they make that next jump? Can they win the KMAC this year? Get another number 1 seed like they had last year in the playoffs, and make another run at that state Final Four?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. East Knox, I feel like, has a lot of pieces and parts back. They got the coaching staff still together with Cody Reese running it. But for me, I think this was kind of an easy one, actually, fellas. I'm surprised nobody else came up with this. Ontario Lady Warriors. I think they got about a dozen seniors on the team. All they talked about all summer was 24 games. We're going to play 24 games and get to that state championship. I even heard it say in their pregame the other night against Dublin Jerome, they're already talking about making that run to Columbus. So they got a ton of great talent. I'm sure that there's going to be at least a handful of these girls that go on to the next level and play collegiate soccer. And they got some younger girls, too, in the ranks that are coming up as well. So I think Ontario Lady Warriors, they got a little bit of pressure on their shoulders to kind of achieve at least the own standard that they're setting for themselves, and they feel like they're a state championship contender, no doubt about it. Speaking of state championship contenders, this kid really was never a part of any of those, but he's with us right now, the former pride of Crestline, Ohio, former Bulldog and 3-sport athlete, I believe, over at Crestline. Max Anatra is joining the show now, and going by a new name these days, people are starting to call you Kid Anatra, because you're starting to get into the music game. So first, tell me about your passion and your love of music and where that all began and how you got involved.
It's always been like my passion. I started it when I was really younger. I started writing songs and playing my grandma's piano and stuff, and then it just progressed into what it is now. So went to college and kind of got a mind for my own, and then just started making music.
Talk to me about the evolution of making music. You're still a baby in the game. You're still in your first year. But what is that process like as a creative, trying to figure out what is your voice and what is going to be your musical style?
That was actually the hardest part, is like finding the sound and getting started and stuff. And now it's just like all up from here. Like, I've been in the studio with some really big names. Actually, like the Faces of Detroit. Been in with like Helva and like GT, people like that. My music's been getting sent all around, starting to buzz. So, yeah.
Talk to me about networking and how big a part of the music game that is, because just like any industry, it's more about who you know than how good you are.
Right.
And tell me how you've been able to start collecting some of this talent and having them help you out, play people like from Detroit.
Yeah, it's actually like that is like the biggest part. It's really like once you get out into the world, especially the industry that I'm in, it's all about who you know, not really who you are, like what you know. So it's like the biggest part of it, and I've gotten a lot of really big opportunities. Like, I never would have gotten the opportunity in Detroit when I went up there if it wasn't for me knowing an artist that's actually on my album that's about to drop. She signed to Universal Music Group, so if I didn't even know her, like, that wouldn't have happened. So it's really big. It's given me a lot of opportunities to, do what I love, and gonna keep going and making more networking and big connections and stuff like that. The biggest connection I've had so far is one of my songs is actually, like, currently, it's been sent to Killeroy and his manager and stuff, so kind of just waiting to hear back a little bit from that, and we'll see. It's crazy because, it could really happen. He's been one of my biggest inspirations, so yeah, it's crazy.
And for pretty much every track that you've dropped so far, you got a music video. It's the social media age. Everybody, they want to be able to see you, of course, and take that all in. And these guys over here, they've been helping you make that happen.
Yeah.
The OH.Report crew been making your music videos. How big a part of you so far taking off in your music career is it also having the visuals to go with the songs?
Oh, huge. When I make music, I try to make, like, art, not just, like, music, like a song. Well, music is art, but I try to put all the pieces together. So, like, the symbolism, the visuals, everything. Like, when you go to concerts or big shows, that's what they have. They have visuals along with it, and that really fits the piece. And for the album I have coming out, I think, like, there's 10 tracks on it, and I think for, like, 7 of the tracks on it, I have music videos. So, in the process of still shooting them, almost done, but yeah, it's huge, because it really shows your creative eye and just your art and your symbolism and stuff like that behind whatever you're doing. So I get to, express myself, my life, and, all my experiences that I've had through stuff like that, through my symbolism. Yep.
And I'm glad that I've got to be a part of your life for the last few years. You were one of the first members of OH.Report back before we couldn't even spell. We were a Fickle Media, so we're glad to still have you as part of the team.
Media.
And we'll be a Fickle forever here. Gentlemen, I know that you guys got some questions for Max. Go ahead, Storm.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about your album. Just when can we expect it? 10 tracks. It's going to be exciting. So just when can we have it?
September 3rd.
September.
Oh, that's like soon.
It's pretty soon.
A couple weeks,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
I've been kind of, teasing on social media here and there, and I'm excited to show people what I can do. You know what I mean? Because I really, like, I'm very, like, serious and, like, professional about it. Like I said, it's my dream. Like, I'm really trying to make it. So I've only dropped 5 tracks, and, like, the first 2 that I dropped weren't even studio produced songs. Like, I wasn't working with engineers. I didn't really have the connections or networking that I do now.
Right.
So, like, this album is kind of, like, inspired behind, like, me just being, like, myself, and it's, like, just a mixture. It's very versatile album. Like, I have slow stuff on there. I have, just the right amount of features, this and that. I have hype stuff. Like, I have creative stuff. Just all different types of stuff. So it's really just me being myself, and I'm excited to show people what I can do. Because, like I said, I only have 5 tracks out right now. So, like, me, there's really, like, I don't think that people even know, like, what my potential is yet. You know what I mean? So, like, just excited to get this out, and then, I got big plans for the future, and just move on, and, yep.
So, Max, has music changed you at all? And if so, I mean, good or bad? Which ways has it, or which way has it not?
Yeah, very good. Like, one thing that I definitely, when I do make it, that I want to, kind of bring to the table is a voice for, like, mental health and stuff like that. Because, everybody goes through that. But instead of me, like, talking about it to, like, somebody or something, because, like, nowadays you can't really trust a lot of people. So I'll just let it out on the mic, you know what I mean? So it's kind of been, like, almost like therapy for me, or, and it's my passion. So it's made me very happy, like, having a purpose, and really, like, kind of one of my mottos is, like, follow your dreams, So me kind of taking, like, that leap of faith to, just say, like, I don't care what happens. Doing what makes me happy and following my dreams kind of puts you at peace, So, yeah, definitely very good thing, very happy.
As an artist, what would your end goal be? What would you like your end goal to be?
Never stopping. To me, there is, like, my end goal would be like obviously like to make it, but to me there's like once I make it, you know, I don't really see me like slowing down, you know, and that kind of like scares me because it's like, you know, sometimes it's just like, okay, like as soon as I put something out, actually it's like as soon as I make a song, like the next day I'm like, okay, like screw that, you know, like on to the next. I feel like it's going to be the same thing when it happens to me, you know. My work ethic has always been very high, especially if it's something that I love doing. So, you know, when I make it, I want to give back, raise a voice for like mental health and stuff and make it like an okay thing to talk about. Bring up light to Mansfield and Crestline and stuff like that, you know, help my friends and my family, and really just be a voice for a lot of things and a lot of people. And, you know, kind of the end goal is just, until I die, just doing everything that I can, you know, leave things better for my loved ones than what I had it, and leave things better for my city than what I had it. So that's kind of the end goal, if you want to look at it that way.
You talked about the work ethic and the dedication that you have to your music and how much it matters to you. When I was a teacher at Crestline, I seen you too. You put in extra time and work as an athlete. Draw some parallels for me between being an athlete and working in music, and how those can be like intertwined and maybe similar.
It's funny because like I think they actually came to the studio with me to record a couple of videos, like behind the scenes in studio videos, and I was telling them like it's crazy because like when you're recording music, I mean obviously you're not like jumping up and down like you're playing basketball, but like your throat is a muscle, and like, you know, you have to use your core. And so before I go to a session, I really do treat it like I'm doing a sports game. Like I'll drink a body armor before, you know, get good rest, you know, drink a lot of water, hydrate, because like when you're hydrating, it's hydrating that muscle, so it's opening it up. And, you know, mental preparation, like knowing what you're doing before you get in, professionalism, like all that stuff plays a really big role in it. So sports and like what I'm doing are, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say they're, you know, exact, but there are definitely like a lot of similarities that people actually don't know or don't think about. And like performing on stage, like I've performed a couple of times and I've been out of breath like in between songs and like running around because, you know, just bring the rage and go crazy. So.
Yeah, I specifically remember my wife won a singing competition, and she came on my show when I was at local TV, and she drew the comparison herself to Tom Brady and actually put herself a step above and said, "Does Tom Brady got to wear heels? Is he in a dress when he performs?" Nah, and I'm sure that that's not anything that you're doing, but it just psychologically, there's a lot of parallels, I think, to being a musical artist as well as an athlete. Well, just one more question for you before we get out of here. We've talked about, you know, some serious stuff, some passionate stuff, and where you're going with music, but what do you think is the coolest bug?
Like, are you saying, the coolest bug? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant like the coolest like thing about doing it. My fault.
No.
Coolest,
Like
the
creatures,
insects. Okay, I
We
got
talk
you.
about everything.
Butterflies. I actually got them right here on the merch, and it actually has like symbolism behind it and stuff to my music, just like the fours and everything else that I got behind my music and on the merch. But yeah, definitely butterflies. It's actually one of my favorite animals. So, yep, butterflies.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by, sharing a little bit of perspective, and giving us a little bit of insight into your brain. And we'll all be rooting for you here at the OH.Report. Look forward to you coming back, and I know you're going to be running some camera for us at some games this year.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Yep.
Pleasure.
Yep.
Pleasure.
Yep.
Kid or Natra, everybody. Trying to blow it up in the music game. Straight out of Crestline, Ohio. Well, let's continue the conversation, the important conversation, I should say, about the most well-liked bug. And, you know, I guess since the camera's on me, I'm going to go next, and I'm going to jack some Max's swag. I think it's got to be the butterfly. Talking about something that when it lands on you, you don't even know it's there. They're just so light. Kind of just breeze through the world. And how many insects or bugs can you think of that you don't want to smash and kill when they land on you? Just instantly. Typically, if a bug is on you, you scream and you try to smash it, right? No, not a butterfly. They're beautiful, they're pretty, and you want them around.
Well, another bug I don't think you want to smash is the roly-poly. you touch it, rolls up in a ball, you mess around with it a little bit, let it go off on its way. The roly-poly, nice little gray bug. Would you want to smash a roly-poly?
I actually eat them for money when my kids pay me in the backyard, so that's one hobby of mine.
I guess it's a high source of protein as well. You never know that.
You ever like shoot them out of a straw when they're in the
wrong with you
when
guys?
they're in the you just go
Yes.
and then you shoot them out of a straw. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a pretty good one, not gonna lie. So
Go. You go, Storm.
You got me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, my personal favorite is probably a green June bug. Emerald is my birthstone, so I really think that kind of plays into it. They're all shiny and green like emeralds. They're just cool bugs. I don't even really like bugs all that much, like touching them and like looking at them. But
I don't know.
Emerald, green June bug's probably my favorite. Second, worms. They're just really cool.
Worms.
Yeah. Whenever PSA, whenever you see them when it rains and they're on the cement, put them back in the grass or they'll dry out. Just a little PSA.
Appreciate that, Storm.
No problem.
Save the warm environment. G-Man, wrap it up.
Well, I'm not a big bug guy, I guess. Storm, I mean, he always comes with these unique topics, but Storm has shown me a few insects, and one that caught my eye was the leaf bug. Never heard of it, but it looked pretty cool, and it's disguised as obviously a leaf.
Right.
So you said that you usually smash him. You wouldn't even see this guy, man. He would be camouflaged in. So I'm going to go with the leaf bug just because of its unique camouflage ability.
And I think maybe an honorable mention for me, praying mantis. We got these things all over my front yard. They look deadly, and I'm scared to touch them or play with them, but man, they are a cool-looking bug. All right, let's get back to sports here for a minute, guys. And, great topic that I think that we have on the menu right here. If you magically can be transformed right now, Storm, I got a wand and I can make you the best athlete at a particular sport. Give me the sport that you're going to choose and why.
Mine would definitely be basketball. Just my favorite sport. I love basketball. I've loved it ever since I was a kid. So, being Michael Jordan or being LeBron or, any of those guys. Well, are we talking like transforming into an athlete? Or like a specific athlete, or just being the best?
It's like that Bow Wow movie, if I can't remember the name of it, where suddenly he just had all the
like
powers.
Mike.
Okay. Like Mike, exactly.
Right,
So
well.
you're actually Storm Blunchley is going to be the best player in the NBA.
Yeah. So that would definitely be cool. I think basketball would be awesome. I'd be a center, old school like Kareem.
At 5'11", I would love it. The sky.
No one's blocking that sky hook. I'll tell you that much.
All right, G-Man, where are you going with this one?
I mean, I would usually pick football just because it's my favorite sport, but I mean, it's the most physical. It's the most definitely, it's the hardest sport on your body. So I'm gonna go with baseball because you definitely make the most money out there. So I'm gonna chase the bag. There's no salary cap, so I'm going straight for the money, and I'm picking baseball. And your bodies might be in perfect shape when you're done. You might, tear an ACL, maybe a little Tommy John when you're running. I don't know, but definitely not picking football. That's the last one because all the physical activity. I'm gonna go baseball and chase the bag.
What position?
I don't know. I mean, I played pitcher and shortstop when I was in Little League. I mean, I was a stud.
You gonna be
naturally.
a switch position? You gonna play pitcher and shortstop in the big leagues?
I don't know. I was definitely a better hitter than I was fielder, obviously. So I usually played DH, and it was just home run. I mean, I remember one time I hit one in left field, and I couldn't get to second base. I got a single. But, yeah, I'm going to go baseball. It's in that conversation right there.
You got a single. There's probably too many Wendy's singles on your diet menu. And, and probably actually being starting pitcher would be the way to go because I've heard some stories about these guys. They work about 2 days a week. You know what I mean? Of course, they're getting in their training or whatever. But that's not where I'm going with this. I like your idea of maybe not beating up the body so much, so that's why I'm going with pro golfer. You get to be outside all the time. Very light with your workouts. You don't even have to lift weights if you don't want to, as long as you got that swing motion down. And then you want to talk about chasing the bag. Bro, you can work for 4 days, and some of these prizes for some of these majors, even the normal tournaments right now is like $1.5 million, a couple of $1 million bucks. So, I just win one tournament per year, and if I'm a superstar, I'm going to be winning a ton. So we're looking at endorsements and stuff too. So we're talking about probably $25 million bucks, and I'm playing golf. I can drink while I'm at work. I can smoke cigars and can still perform. They probably don't, but could.
John Daly actually did, so you could be like him.
One did.
Well, G took my idea of baseball, hitting dingers. I mean, for a living would be great, but I'm going to go with football. Ooh. But the one position that really you don't have to... Exactly. The kicker. We've talked about this before. I'm not that good, but if I could be one of the elite kickers, like Adam Vinatieri, somebody like that, I mean... I hear stories from Pat McAfee, who was a kicker, where in training camp they're all busting their butts and Pat's over there just rooting them on, because for kickers you're just kicking the ball every once in a while, doing a kickoff, you're coming on, coming off, getting back under and getting warm when it's cold and stuff like that. That'd be the perfect job, kicker.
And you're perfect for it. I heard you were backup kicker at Bishop Donahue back in the day, and also on JV. I seen him kick a 20-yarder, folks.
Hey,
he's the real deal.
He still got it. He could probably still be playing right now.
Yeah, maybe if he would just train.
Old school straight
he's
on
got the old
approach
school
too.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little stutter run.
He's gonna drop kick him now.
Well, the whole inspiration for this topic actually came from our newest OH reporter, who is going to be joining us right here and now. Everybody, let's introduce you to Mr. Hayden Gray. Woo! Thank you for jumping on board with us here, Hayden. And since this was your topic of conversation, what's the real right answer? Where should we have all gone here?
Well, I had my answer all well thought out, and I was going to give all these nice reasons, and then Brian proceeded to take my answer. So rather anticlimactic here, but I was definitely thinking golf when I thought of this question, minimal participation during the year, travel to all these nice exotic locations, warm weather, and secure that big bag, and not have to get hit for it. So you kind of took it, but I was going to go with golf.
Well, if I'm going to be the pro golfer, what about bowling as maybe a second option for you?
Bowling could definitely be up there as well, You watch some of the celebrity tournaments sometimes, Chris Paul, LeBron James, if they ever get tired of playing basketball, they definitely have a second career.
Or poker.
Yeah, poker as well.
Poker, that's one that's easy.
Oh, and we did determine that was a sport, or did we not? No, we just
No,
took... Nope, sorry, Storm.
We got shot down. Yeah.
No bueno. Well, Hayden, we're really excited to bring you on board here for our fall sports coverage, and I assume beyond. Just tell the folks at home, since you're the newest guy on the crew, a little bit about yourself. Give them a little 411, some background on Hayden Gray.
Yeah, so I am from Shelby, Ohio originally, so Storm's always hyping up the Whippet, so I appreciate that a lot. So I just recently graduated from Kent State University. Always had a massive passion for sports. When I saw that the OH.Report had some spots open, I'm like, I'm going to take a shot and I'm going to reach out to him here. So I got the opportunity to sit down with Brian, and I kind of told him the first thing that kind of got me into sports beyond the level of playing them was when I was young. I met Dan Patrick at a Cleveland Cavaliers game, when I was very young, 8 years old. And he took the opportunity during the halftime in their game to show me where he was working, what he's doing. And ever since then, I did a school report on commentating, and from there it's just kind of really flown. So that was kind of my thing, lunchroom in high school at the lunch table, always having your little first take with your friends, your own little round table kind of like this. But ever since then, I've just always had a real passion for sports, and I think the coverage that, now that I'm a part of that we do for local sports is something that takes a lot of passion, but I think it's something that's really special. And I know we kind of talked earlier before the show today how these little schools appreciate the amount of coverage and things we do for them, and I just think that's cool, and it's something I want to be a part of. So I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity, and I'm excited. I know I've already gotten out a couple times here, but I'm really looking to the football season and beyond as well, like we said. So
Pretty good answer.
Yeah,
Pretty good answer.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to having you on crew. And since I brought this up earlier and you weren't a part of the set yet, is there anything in particular for fall sports coming up that you are most looking forward to? Maybe is it a team that you get to cover, or just something in general that's really grasping your attention?
I definitely think it's awesome that we're going to have fans back in the stands. I know it's kind of been talked about today. One thing I'm excited about is, I'm going to be going along with Travis for most of the football games here, and I know we're going to kind of see some schools that I never played in high school or went against in any sports, never had the chance to really learn about. So I think I'm excited to see some new schools that could be some sleeper teams that aren't on my radar. I know Storm already touched about it. I'm always going to be biased for the alumni for the Whippets. But yeah, I'm excited to see what our local teams can do, but also to learn about some of these other schools that I've never heard of. I know we were over in Northmore for a scrimmage last week. I'd never been to Northmore, and it was really exciting to go see some live action. It's been a while. Also, just doing sports that I didn't participate in. Went over to soccer with you, Brian, to Ontario, and watched that exciting match. And just covering some things that I didn't previously think, that's something I want to do, but just having that exposure.
All right, we've still got a few more topics to get to here, Hayden, before we wrap things up, so we'll keep you around here for the rest of the show. And we'll let you go first on this one. Do you believe that baseball is still America's pastime? There's all this romanticism with the sport, or at least that's what the old hats tell us. Do you think that it's still the game here in America?
Well, I don't know if I'm glad you put me on the spot to go first, but I certainly think it's something that's been in question. And personally, baseball wasn't always my favorite sport to watch, but I do enjoy it. And so I don't know if I share the same commonalities as everyone else, but sometimes there's a little bit, football is more of America's pastime. But then something that just recently occurred that really reminded me, there's no way it's baseball was the Field of Dreams game. I know Travis and I talked about that a little bit, but just what they were able to put together there, and the nostalgia of it all, and the atmosphere they created, I'm like, yeah, it's something that I'd seen someone, they had recorded a home run or a game winner or a walk-off in a baseball stadium. And I mean, with all sports it is, but it's full of a bunch of people that completely different walks of life, different stories, and they're all sharing in that same emotion when it happens. So I think it's still safe to say for now that it is, but I could listen to other people's arguments for why it's not.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why it's not. Because that Field of Dreams game, Hayden, that everyone was going so goo-goo gaga for, that's one night, one game, and I get it. It was cool. What about the other 161 that you're playing through the year, and where's the buzz and the excitement around that? NFL preseason games got bigger ratings than your game that you said it was so great. So I'm going to say football easily has taken over. Of course, it's the king when it comes to viewership and when it comes to sponsorship, so I don't know that there's really a debate anymore. Baseball is going this way. Football has been up here for a long time and still ascending, in my opinion. Travis, tell me why I'm wrong.
Just stop hating. Come on.
Bro.
I mean,
talk to us about West Virginia and baseball.
Country roads. Go ahead, Travis.
Storm, yeah. Anyway, he took it out. He took the words right out of my mouth. If you've ever seen Field of Dreams, I mean, the beginning of the whole game, Kevin Costner comes out of the corn. Then the players start walking out of the corn like the movie. It was pretty cool. But just the way the game ended, it was the most watched baseball game regular season in I think 12 years or something like that. It just brought hype back. But I know for you guys that just don't appreciate sports and you like your football because you have the attention span to only watch 16 games a year instead of 162.
Hey, we get 17 now.
Yeah, you do. Plus the playoffs. But I do think football is on the way up, and it might be passing baseball. But those for the baseball fans, you gotta love the sport, and for moments like the Field of Dreams game, it just brings that love back out for it.
Well, I got a feeling it's going to be the baseball guys over here, football guys over here. Am I wrong? No.
I was just answering the question. I still football will always hold specialty, but sorry, Travis.
Anything to
Always
add
gotta
on
take
top
the side of the boss, huh?
the conversation, boys?
I mean, I think it's definitely football, Travis. I mean, we're going to sit down and watch a 5-hour baseball game that's taken away from time at the gym. You know what I mean?
So they have TVs in front of you at the gym too.
All
You
right,
wouldn't know because you never go.
So he just sits there and watches.
Yeah, you just got to move on. Football's king. Football's king. We know.
Okay.
Storm's
I'm still over
here.
here.
Basketball.
My thing is that baseball has definitely become more of a world sport as you see more people from other countries and whatnot coming over and playing in the MLB. So I don't think it's so much more America's pastime anymore as it is everyone else's pastime now. Because, I mean, even just in like China and Japan, the baseball scene is huge over there. In Korea, the Korean baseball league is massive. So I think it's more stepped out of the limelight in America, but in other places I think it's really blowing up. But us Americans, we got to have our football. So I really think that football is trying to take that over.
I think
that's actually a really good point.
Great point.
For once,
Yeah,
that's a good point,
I know.
Storm.
Because if you look at Cuba, DR, all those
Mm-hmm.
places too, and the places that you mentioned as well, baseball is pretty big.
So it's the world's pastime.
World's pastime now.
Yeah.
That's
like
fair.
I said,
I can make that. I can agree to that as a fair point.
hey, I have my days. Sometimes I ask you guys what your favorite bug is, and sometimes I make really good points. So.
Hey, there you go.
Definitely the butterfly. All right, the final order of business. We know that football is king here in America, but is Seinfeld the king of sitcoms? I believe this was your topic, Storm. Tell us why it is.
Yeah, it actually is, I think. I think Seinfeld is one of the most funny shows on television, period. I mean, they run reruns all the time, and I watch. Now, here's a little bit of a hot take. I don't think Jerry Seinfeld is the most funny guy on Seinfeld. I definitely think that goes to George Costanza. He's bald, and he's fat. So that's automatically hilarious.
Yep.
And just some of the things he says, for example, I'm shifting into super mode is a quote directly from that show. And every time I hear that, I'm laughing right now. I think that is so funny. I think sitcoms more recently have lost a little bit of their charm. You look at shows like The Big Bang Theory, they're kind of bland, they're kind of, But Seinfeld, it's something that captured the heart of America and early American television. And, I think that it has been the cornerstone of sitcom TV, and it will be forever.
Has it captured your heart, G? Do you believe?
No, I mean I don't even think I've ever watched a sitcom other than iCarly that Storm said. So I guess I'm gonna go iCarly when I was a younger kid. I seen Everybody Hates Chris though. They said that was a sitcom. So between those two, I remember watching those when I would get into bed to go to sleep, and that would be to finish my night. So I guess either iCarly or Everybody Hates Chris. I can't make that decision because this isn't my random topic. It's Storm. So
two tough ones.
See what Brian can do here.
I think because of what Storm said, the fact that they're still rerunning these episodes, and it's still, I think, the most watched syndicated show on TV till this day. They haven't made an episode of that since the 90s, guys. George Costanza definitely is the best character. I would argue that Jerry is the worst of the four main characters in terms of his overall funniness. I would even put Elaine and Kramer ahead of him. So when you think about that, the fact that the main star of the show, that's the co-writer of the show, along with Larry David, is the fourth funniest dude on it, it lets you know that you got the recipe and the pieces of parts for a beautiful, beautiful TV show. There are so many legendary episodes. I don't know how they came up with some of this stuff. When George is working for the Yankees, I can't even get over some of the episodes and some of the one-liners that they have. Just great. It's number one.
Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Seinfeld, NBC in the late 90s. They also had Friends. I mean, Friends is another one of those shows where people, if it's taken off Netflix, 1 million, 2 million people have to write to them to get it back because they just love watching it over and over again. But I think Seinfeld's still just ahead of Friends there. You said the Costanza thing. I think the one episode that I love the most is when he made the little bed underneath his desk, and Steinbrenner comes in and sits down, and Costanza's just laying down there hoping he leaves, and he stays there for the whole episode. It's hilarious.
And I think he catches him because of calzones in the trash can. I don't know how they came up with these episodes. Hayden, you're of the younger variety, so I do remember I was very young, but we used to tape record these on VHS so that we could watch the episodes later on. Where do you land on this one?
It's tough. I'm just going to admit right now, not much of a Seinfeld watcher. I've seen a few episodes here and there, but I would say Friends is a solid one.
Did you watch iCarly?
No. I mean, I have watched iCarly in my life.
See?
But me and my fiance own all the Friends seasons on DVD, and just in case they ever take it off for that reason. But, we talked a little bit earlier, too, about The Office possibly being a sitcom. I don't know if it's a great comparison to compare something like Seinfeld to The Office or Friends, but I feel like you touched on a point where they're still rerunning episodes, and it's a show where you can toss on any episode and find a laugh. So I'd go with with Friends or The Office.
Yeah, all those still translate today in 2021 just as well as they did back in the day. I got to note that we cannot drop these mics, but we do have to leave Garrett all by himself. We have places to go, and with lots of football games and soccer games and volleyball games to cover. So thank you guys for watching. Oh, did we just all get to hang out?
Yeah!
I already left. I'm just going to come back. Well, I mean, what's up with that? Jerry Seinfeld, that's his thing.
See you guys.
See you guys. Catch you on the flip.